If you've been using these 5 common English words the way most textbooks teach them, you've been accidentally confusing native speakers for years. These aren't grammar mistakes or pronunciation errors. These are words that have completely different meanings in real conversations than what you learned in class. I've taught over 50,000 students, and these 5 words cause more misunderstandings than any grammar rule ever could. But in the next 8 minutes, I'm going to show you exactly what these words really mean and how to use them like a true native speaker. Now, I need you to be completely honest with me. Have you ever used a word in English that you thought was perfect for the situation, only to see that confused look on someone's face? Maybe they smiled politely, but you could tell something was off. This happens because English has evolved far beyond what most textbooks capture. The words you learned in formal education often carry different emotional weight, cultural context, or social implications in real conversations. I see this every single day with my students. Brilliant, educated people who know English grammar perfectly, but struggle with these subtle meaning differences that native speakers just instinctively understand. Let's start with the word actually. Most students learn this as a simple way to state facts or correct information. But here's what your textbook didn't tell you. When native speakers use actually, it often carries an undertone of mild disagreement or surprise. If someone says, "The weather is nice today," and you respond, "Actually, it's quite sunny," you're not just agreeing. You're subtly suggesting they understated something. Native speakers feel this nuance immediately. The safer approach? Use actually sparingly, and when you do use it, pair it with softer language like, "Actually, I think it might be even sunnier than that," to avoid sounding contradictory. The second word that tricks learners is quite. In many textbooks, quite means very or completely. You might say, "I'm quite tired," thinking you're expressing that you're very tired. But wait, here's where it gets complicated. In American English, quite often means somewhat or fairly, actually less intense than very. So when you say quite tired, Americans might think you're just a little tired. But in British English, quite can mean completely, depending on the adjective that follows it. This confusion happens because the word carries different intensity levels in different English-speaking countries. And most textbooks don't explain this regional variation clearly enough. Now, before we continue, I want to show you something that will make this even clearer. Just last week, I received a message from Maria, one of my students from Colombia. She said that understanding these subtle word differences was the breakthrough moment that helped her finally feel confident in her job interviews. She realized she'd been using obviously incorrectly for months, which brings us perfectly to our third word. This isn't just about vocabulary. It's about the cultural intelligence that separates good English speakers from those who truly connect with native speakers. Obviously is probably the most dangerous word on this list because it can make you sound condescending without you realizing it. Textbooks present obviously as a way to introduce clear facts, like, obviously, water boils at 100 degrees Celsius. But in real conversations, obviously often implies that something should have been apparent to the listener already. When you say, obviously, we should leave early to avoid traffic, native speakers might feel like you're suggesting they're stupid for not thinking of that themselves. The emotional undertone is, this should be clear to anyone with common sense. Instead, try, it probably makes sense to leave early, or I think we should leave early. Same message, zero condescension. The fourth word might surprise you because it seems so innocent. Interesting. Most students use interesting as a positive word to show engagement, like, that's an interesting presentation. But native speakers often use interesting as a polite way to express skepticism or disagreement. When someone shares an idea and you respond with, that's interesting, they might interpret it as diplomatic disapproval rather than genuine curiosity. It's become a socially acceptable way to say, I disagree, but I'm being polite about it. If you genuinely find something engaging, be more specific. That's fascinating. Or, I never thought about it that way, or tell me more about that. These alternatives show authentic interest without the ambiguous undertones that interesting can carry. Finally, let's talk about should, a word that causes more relationship problems than almost any other in English. Textbooks teach should as a way to give advice or express obligation. You should exercise regularly, or we should arrive on time. But here's the critical difference. Should often carries moral judgment in native speakers' minds. When you tell someone, you should call your mother more often, you're not just giving advice. You're implying they're currently failing at something important. Native speakers feel criticized, even when that wasn't your intention. The alternative? Use could for suggestions without judgment. You could call your mother this weekend or frame it personally. I always feel better after calling my family. Same helpful intent, completely different emotional impact. Now, I know what you might be thinking. This feels overwhelming. How are you supposed to remember all these subtle differences when you're already concentrating on grammar and pronunciation? Here's the truth that most English teachers won't tell you. Native speakers aren't consciously thinking about these nuances either. They learned them through years of social feedback, noticing when conversations went smoothly and when they didn't. The key isn't to memorize every rule, but to develop awareness. Start paying attention to how native speakers respond when you use these words. Do they seem comfortable? Do they ask follow-up questions? Do they change the subject? These social cues will teach you more about real English usage than any textbook ever could. So let's recap the 5 words that don't mean what you think. Actually implies disagreement more than agreement. Quite means different things in different countries. Obviously can sound condescending when you're trying to be helpful. Interesting often signals polite disagreement rather than genuine curiosity. And should carries moral judgment that can damage relationships. But remember, you don't need to be perfect with these nuances immediately. Even native speakers sometimes misread social cues. The goal isn't perfection, it's awareness. Every conversation is a chance to notice these patterns and adjust. Focus on the alternatives I've shared, and you'll start sounding more natural without even thinking about it. Understanding these subtle word meanings is just the beginning of truly natural English. There's another category of words that trips up even advanced speakers. Words that sound professional, but actually make you seem less confident to native speakers. These are the hidden weak words that successful English speakers avoid completely. And I'll show you exactly what they are and what to use instead in the next lesson. The difference will transform not just how you sound, but how people respond to you in professional settings.